7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
International superstar, Miss Butter B.
You are now tuned in to Butter B Rocker on Transparency Talks Podcast.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Transparency Talks Podcast. I am your girl, Butterby Rocka. Listen, we have an amazing show for you today. But before I bring on my special guest, I want to thank you guys so much for supporting BBR Indie Films. We had an amazing turnout last night. Some great films, some great panelists, some great advice, some great networking. So we will be announcing our next one is going to be in September. Tentatively, we're looking at September 25th, Wednesday, September 25th, but I will officially announce it. And also, starting Monday, we will open up submissions for the next one. So you guys stay tuned. And when we open that up, we will also be opening up Eventbrite. We realize it sells out really, really quick. So I suggest that once I open it, that's when you hop on right then and there, because you already know it's going to be good and you already know it's going to get sold out. So ain't you? She is a writer, a producer, a Broadway professional. Can you please show some love for Miss Gina Keys? Hello.
Hey!
How you doing?
I'm well. Thank you, Butter. This is wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I couldn't wait to speak to you. So I'm really excited about this interview. Gina, can you tell everybody a little bit of background about yourself?
Oh, I am originally from Chicago. I'm a South Side girl, grew up, born and raised Chicago. I started in arts education programming when I was a kid and have been teaching and choreographing and writing music and just having a really, really big career before I had my kids for a long time. But I started in arts education programming, which is what I was hoping we might talk a little bit about today.
Okay, we can definitely start there. Why has art education in public schools been your mission?
Oh, I mean, can you imagine what the world would be like if there was no arts and education? No music, no dance, no theater, poetry, literature. Like, what would the world actually be like without the arts? So it's like really an important part of humanity. It's a really important part of life. Everybody has the capacity to create art. And sometimes we need mentorship to kind of like tap into that creativity. So that's why I chose arts education. I started in arts education, like I said, as a kid, and it was just really important for me to kind of pay it forward. And so that's what I'm doing.
Okay. Is anybody in your family into arts, and is that where you got your spark for it, or what?
I started at the recreation center. Like in Chicago, back in that time, there was a big commitment to the arts. And so after school, I just went to arts education programming, started in dance where they had free programming for kids in the neighborhood, dance, music, or art and sports. And that's where I really started. There wasn't anybody in my family in particular that was in the entertainment business. So for me to say or express that I wanted to do it came with a little pushback, But I did have the support of some really great mentors when I was a kid that helped to open up that door and make me believe in myself and believe that it was possible to pursue a career in dance, because I did start in dance. Yeah.
Okay. So you started in dance and then you eventually transitioned into music. Was that the next transition, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've had like a pretty long career. You know what I mean? Like I've been blessed to be working, a working actor, working some film and television. I mean, I've been in the industry for a long time, but music is definitely one of my most favorite pivots. And it led to some really great opportunities to work with Kool and the Gang and to write and produce with Khalees Bayonne from Kool and the Gang many years ago. So yeah, it's been a wonderful opportunity to make music and create music in my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
And during that musical aspect of your life, you had Gina Keys Productions, and you was overseeing different production elements and doing artist development, songwriting, producing. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, like during the time that I worked with Khalees and Kool and the Gang, I also kind of worked with Hakeem Bell, and we together put together kind of like a management company in which we developed new talent. Under that came Bloom times two, a couple of girl groups that we developed, wrote, and produced for, that went on to do some work with MTV and other, places. And so, yeah, it's all still kind of the through line of arts education, though. You know what I mean? So like everything that I have done in my career has all kind of tied into giving back and working with young people in arts education programming. So yeah.
Absolutely. So, why do you believe preserving history through the arts is so important?
Ooh, especially today with everything happening the way it is in our society. So much of our history is being kind of erased. And I really think that it's important to continue to celebrate our culture, to celebrate Black history. Um, those historical giants, they need to be remembered. There's so much history that's being taken out of the school system and the curriculum, that it's important for us to create content to continue to help young people learn about who we are, where we come from, and why it's so important to be proud to be Black.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How did your experience as a professional entertainer influence your transition into playwriting?
So, I mean, I've been writing forever. Like writing was always something I did as a kid, as poetry, from poetry to songwriting. But I've also wanted to, after I had my kids, I wanted to create a space for myself. Like I had been on the road for a long time, touring with the Will Rogers Follies, which was at the time, one of the largest productions on tour on the Broadway circuit. And so when I decided to have a family, I wanted to find some other way that I could create and still be dedicated to my children and my life as a mom. And so I started to write plays and found that I was quite good at it. So I just continued on that path, developing and started producing shows within my community, and then kind of expanded out to, New York and to New Jersey and to other, programming in the schools as well. So, yeah.
Now, I came from the music world, and as you know, writing a song is completely different from writing a play. And
Absolutely.
I've written one play so far, and premiered it here in Atlanta, Georgia, with 6 national recording artists in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a major transition because, of course, writing a song, you're writing one dimensional, or you're writing in third person, compared to writing plays where there's so much interaction and stuff like that. So how was it for you to transition?
Well, I think it helps when you have multiple characters in your head that are speaking to you and saying,
Right.
let me out, let me out, let me out. But I think I've always kind of studied. I've done a lot of studying over my career. I think it's really important to, if you're going to get into a new lane, that you study the craft and that you try to understand what it is that you're doing. And so I did study character a lot when I started to write. So I like to tap into characters who are real, you know what I mean, that reflect who we are, I think in all of my plays, you'll probably find somebody that you recognize or somebody that seems familiar to you, because it's really important to me that I reflect that kind of work back into society. You know, Black people have really amazing, rich stories that need to be told. And I think that's what I write. That's what I kind of focus on.
So you have a play that you wrote about your family's journey before the Great Migration. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, Mississippi Land is the name of the show. And we were recently featured on Tamron Hall. And we had our last performance, which stars Leon. I don't know if you guys remember Leon, but Leon from Cool Runnings, he's done a lot of films. And we had our recent performance in Queens, New York, where we had Sunny from The View come and attend our show. So the show is really about my family and just love family dynamics and, you know, the fight that usually happens when someone passes and there is land to be divvied out, and the importance of family ownership of land is really what the show is more focused on. It's about the importance of owning land and building legacy for your family.
So in getting into plays, what would you say has been the biggest challenge that you faced in playwriting?
Well, it's not so much that it is a challenge for me as a playwright more than it is finding funding. Finding funding as a producer is really, really hard, especially if you have a show that is equity bound and equity, the union, Equity Actors Equity Union. Finding funding is really the hard. It's the same thing as, Liz, if you have a film and you're trying to find distribution for your film. So it's equivalent to that, you know, finding the right avenue in which to market your work. And so that's been most challenging for me. I can write plays and musicals all day, but unless I have a pipeline in which to showcase that work, it's really difficult.
Yeah.
Hard.
For sure. I funded my very first film, had a cast of 32, and I was like, oh Jesus. You know, it's really tough, especially I'm ready to write the next one. This time I will be seeking funding and everything, but the contracts that some of the investors were throwing at me was just something that I wasn't really willing to do. So I was like, well, I'm gonna just do it myself. But yeah, next time funding is very important for sure.
It is. It's tough. You know, when you have a product that you know that could sell and could do well in the theaters, and yeah, I think that would be something that would be great to start developing for Black creatives, is a space where they can get their projects funded. That seems to be the issues for most of us.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about your writing process and your style. How would you describe your writing style, and what influences your approach to storytelling?
Ooh. Like I said earlier, I think that my style is more about, I think some people might consider it more like human interest stories almost, because I'm really interested in relationships, in how we treat each other, how we love each other, how we develop as humans. So I think that's more my style, but I think my point of focus for most of my work is really about people of color and the experiences that we've had here in America. And I think that we have a plethora of stories and they need to be told. And so I'm fighting to get more of my work in spaces that are predominantly white spaces. And that's been a challenge, but I believe that my work belongs on Broadway. Right. So I'm pushing for that.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we gonna pray that that happens for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Now,
Prayers.
do you collaborate with other artists during your writing process or in any of your projects?
So am I Tyler Perry? No.
I didn't say
Listen, I'm gonna use your word. Listen. I have been open to collaboration.
that.
And then I think that the entire process that happens during the Actors Networking Group is about collaboration. And that's me trying to like, because it's hard, like you have a vision, you know what story you're trying to tell, you know what you want to say. So it's hard to collaborate a little bit for me.
Yeah,
Uh,
I do feel that too. So speaking of Actors Networking Group, let's dive on into this thing. Can you tell everybody what the Actors Networking Group is?
So the Actors Networking Group is a networking group that was organized during the pandemic. And it was really, I was stifled during the pandemic. I'm pretty sure you were too. I think most creatives were kind of like tucked away somewhere and like really like frustrated that we couldn't get our art out. We couldn't be creative. And so I wanted to create a space where actors and writers could come together and be creative and just be safe in a community where we could network and share work and create work and collaborate. And that's what it's been. It's been like 4 years now and it's still going strong.
Yeah. The first time I came to one of them, I was very impressed. I mean, it actually really makes you step up when you see other people reading and how they their choices of how they interact with that character and how they make it their own and everything. And then you get to hear so many creatives and their ideas and everything. So it's a wonderful program that I think is absolutely needed. Um, how does people join? Is there a process that you look at people first, or how does that work?
No, the platform is free and
Mhm.
it's geared for arts education, which is my jam. It's anybody can join. It's for anyone and everyone. We're open. You come if you're willing to read other people's scripts, then you are welcome. You're welcome to bring pages if you're a writer and have other actors read your script. We want as many people to come as want to come. You know what I mean? It's open.
Hmm.
And
And how can people join it?
you can email me at ginakeys.com and leave your contact information, or you can DM us at the Actors Networking Group and let us know that you want to join, and we'll send a link over to you. It's just that simple. We meet on Sundays on Zoom, but come prepared to work. This is a serious group. This is a group of people who are really, really interested in getting to the next level of their careers as writers and actors. This is a cold read situation. So if you're an actor, come prepared to read cold on the spot. And that's what it is. Yeah.
Now, has any relationships or has any work happened outside of Actors Network from the Actors Networking Group?
Absolutely. There have been so many writers who have gone on to win awards and film awards. Most of our writers are screenwriters. Like everybody's not a playwright. I'm a playwright, but there are screenwriters on the platform who are winning awards. Their work is being filmed and being placed. As for me, the Actors Networking Group has offered me an opportunity to showcase some of my work to the King Center, to Whoopi Goldberg, to other producers. We invite people to come. It's also an opportunity for people to come and hear you. If you're an actor, you're looking for some place to showcase your talent. So there have been a lot of opportunities. We've had some wonderful guests come and speak, mentor. So yeah, check us out. It's been a wonderful journey with the Actors Networking Group. I'm very proud of it. Very proud of the work we're doing there.
You should be. I haven't been able to get on as much as I would like to in the
And
summertime.
we miss you. And we miss you.
Oh, man, I miss you guys too. The summertime is a little bit harder.
All right. Yeah. But we
Working.
know you're busy. We know you're doing your thing. And we're so proud of you. Like we watch, like the advertisements for everything that you're doing. And we're so proud of you.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. What type of advice can you give someone who is starting out in, I mean, you work in so many fields, so I'll just say starting out wanting to come out in the arts?
I will say if you're a young person, like if you're a teenager and you're just interested in the arts, find a program, get into some kind of study situation. It's really important that you learn about the craft. The thing that I can say, like when I was on tour with the Follies, and I remember sitting in the audience while they had an open call audition, and a lot of people of color came in to audition for the show. But if it became obvious after a while that a lot of them didn't have the training. And if you are going to pursue dance, if you're going to pursue theater, anything in the arts, music, make sure that you study. It's just a step you cannot bypass. So get in a good class somewhere, get in a good acting class, and do the work. There's no getting around it.
Yeah.
In order to compete, you really do, especially to compete on the level that a lot of people want to compete at, you really have to study.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think you break through the noise on social media? Because so many people out there, you being an actor and trying to get out there, right? How do you break through that noise to really get yourself seen?
I think it helps if you are a part of a networking group.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you're a part of a community, then you have resources. You have access to resources. You have access to other actors who know information, who know people, who know where the auditions are, who know how to, who you need to call or what agents you need to send your information to. It's really important to be a part of a community these days in order to cut through the noise.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough out there and very
Yes.
competitive, very competitive, very competitive. And what I was going to say about just to circle back to this arts education thing is that the most important component of all of it, it doesn't matter. Like you can have all the talent you want, you can have everything, but if you don't believe in yourself, and I know that it sounds cliche to say that, but the truth of the matter is that to be in this industry, you really have to believe that you can do anything. You have to be able to believe in yourself, because the world is going to continue to tell you that this is something you can't accomplish. But if it's your dream and you really believe in yourself, anything is possible in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Anything is possible. But
And
it starts with you.
yeah, sound advice. How important is diversity and representation in the arts?
That is a really good question. Back in the day when I first started dancing, I was like the only Black dancer in a lot of the shows. And I did everything from Vegas to Miami. Like I worked for a lot of production companies. And to hear people talk about diversity, like nowadays, it's like you had to be 10 times as good as the other people in order to even get those jobs. So like if you're in an all white environment and there's one Black person in the room, that Black person is probably overqualified for that job. Believe me, we have to work that much harder. And the show, in the beginning, nobody really cared about diversity. Like when I first started dancing, they didn't care about there being any Black people involved. You have to fight for those opportunities.
Right.
Now there's a little bit of pushback, in the industry that they want to make space for us. And there's just not enough space being made. There's not enough space being made, especially in the Broadway community. There are Black shows, and there are more actors that are being hired, but there's just not enough being done in terms of opening the door for more diverse voices being heard on Broadway.
Right.
More work to be done.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Um, with AI and you being a writer, writing music, writing plays, writing film, what are your thoughts on AI taking over our jobs?
I don't think AI can ever replace real music,
Yeah.
authentic voices. I don't think we need to worry about it as much as I think people think we should.
Mm-hmm.
Humanity is still at the forefront of what is going to read across in music and in dance and every other, genre. Like, human beings are necessary. So I know technology is all up on us, but we're all creatives. We have to continue to do our art. We have to continue to be creative.
Yeah.
It is a really vital part of being human.
Yeah. I think I don't know any other way. Like I've just accepted I'm a creative. Like it's just what it is. I'm constantly coming up with things, projects with ideas, and I can't rest until I actually get it out of my head and execute. So it's just what it is.
Yeah.
Can you share any details about any of your upcoming projects?
Oh, like I said earlier, I'm in development right now with the King Center, which is like the most exciting thing that's happening in my life right now. On a piece called The Definition of Courage, which is based on the early life of Coretta Scott King. And so I'm headed to Atlanta and taking some meetings, and I'm hoping and praying that everything goes well for that. That is definitely in the pipeline. But Mississippi Land is up and running. And like I said, with proper funding, we'll be able to push that project forward onto Broadway. And lastly, this new project, Sammy D, is a project that I've been developing for the last year or so. And I'm in the early stages of it, but it's based on the early life, because I love to find out the beginnings of stories of Sammy Davis Jr., who was like this extraordinary talent who opened the doors, and his journey is amazing. And I think more people need to know about Sammy Davis Jr.
Right.
Yeah.
That's some wonderful things. I'm working on, I'm the music supervisor for the Renardo Ray documentary, and I have found out so much, about him that I really did not know. So it's really cool to find out the beginning about people, before they were this big
Before they were who they were. Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. Well, I would like to thank you so much for being a part of Transparency Talks podcast. I have learned so much, and I'm sure you did as well.
Thank you so much for having me, Butta. Like I don't usually talk that much about myself, but thank you for having me. Thank you for thinking that I was worthy enough to come on your program and share.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Gina. I couldn't wait to speak to you. I was counting down the weeks. I'm like, okay, yes. I was really excited about speaking with you. So with that, everybody, we are out of here, and we're going to talk to you guys later. Gina, thank you for your time. I do appreciate you. And I won't be on this Sunday because I'll be out of town. But the following Sunday, I have plans to be back on.
And bring some pages.
Yeah. I do need to start.
Yes, bring some pages. You got some pages.
I've done it
you
twice.
Did. I know you brought some pages before, but the goal is to kind of keep that going.
Yeah, for sure. Especially since I'm working on a new piece. It's good to hear it's good to hear it read out loud.
Yeah.
It helps me make
it helps, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I would definitely be doing that. So again, thank you so much, Gina. And with that, everybody, we are out of here. We're going to talk to you guys later. Peace out, y'all.